Hello, welcome to episode 6 of Terrace Talk. They say it's the most wonderful time of the year. I'm not sure why. I think it's because of the amount of football we get to watch during this time. It's been a couple of weeks since we joined you, partly because of Southampton in the midweek and how that froze everything off. I think it was just before the Arsenal game we spoke to you. So that's been 4 games since then, which we will delve into with my wonderful guests who've joined me in the resplendent departure lounge. We're in at a different time of the day and it's very well lit and feels rather festive in here. I think there's a Christmas tree just over to my right, which is quite nice. You like to see that. And joining me this week, 2 Norwich City fans, Ross Bullard. Ross, how are you?
Very well. Yourself?
I'm very good, thank you.
Good.
And Jack as well from Seeing from the Nest.
That's correct. Yeah, I'm very good, thank you.
Jolly good. Right, let's start as we always like to do on here then. We've got some almost, I don't want to say Jeremy Paxman-like questions, but just some nice quick-fire questions to ease us in. Has anyone wanted to take a preference on going first?
Jack looks ready, doesn't he?
Jack, there you go. You've been nominated. Right, these are fairly straightforward. So we just like to get a bit more knowledge about you as a fan, I suppose, and how you watch the Canaries week in, week out. So first and foremost, nice easy one. Where do you sit in the ground?
I prefer to sit in the South Stand. I was just saying to Ross earlier, actually, I'm getting married next year, so I haven't been able to have a season ticket this year. But yeah, South Stand is my preference.
Well, hopefully you can return next year then to your desired seat. And who do you go with? Do you go with anyone?
Usually go with my partner, or away games, like to go with my brother, things like that, just different friends, different family.
Lovely. And what was your first game?
My first game, wow. One that I can remember, I think it was 2005. It was Burnley at home over the Christmas period. I think we won 2-0 that day. I think I'm pretty sure it was Boxing Day or just after 2005, beat Burnley.
Well, let's hope that's an omen for this festive period then, and we can get a win. But more on that later. What about your favourite game that you've seen as a Norwich fan?
Wembley, easy. It was just
no debate.
Amazing. What an experience that was. It was just phenomenal.
Absolutely incredible indeed. Yeah, it was. I was there in a fan capacity as well that day. That was
superb.
Something you won't forget. And
absolutely
ask you now something a bit different in terms of your favourite niche player, someone who perhaps isn't what you describe as a club legend, but perhaps you like them for a weird or obscure reason.
Ever or
up to you.
Cool. I've got a bit of a thing for Dixon Atuhu. Don't know why. Just absolute powerhouse. I just loved him in centre midfield, and I know that is a proper obscure one, I know, but I thought he was great for the time that we had him, and he was just solid in the middle. So,
hey, the obscurer the better. And then finally, do you have any fans are quite superstitious, that's what I've learnt doing this show in the 6 weeks that we've done it. Do you have any strange, or maybe not strange, fairly routine pre-match rituals that you think gives Norwich a bit of luck on a match day?
Not particularly, no. I just hope for the best like everyone else, really. And just no superstitions. My brother does. He lays out his Norwich City shirt on his bed every Saturday morning, nicely laid out. But for me, no, I just really hope for the best more than anything.
Jolly good. That's your grilling over. Thank you very much, Ross. Let's come on to you then. Yeah. First and foremost, I'll ask you the same question. Whereabouts do you sit in the ground?
Lower Barclay, Block E.
Lovely.
Halfway back.
The best block to sit in. Also, the Along Come Norwich boys have told me. Anyway, who do you go to football with?
Home games, there's 3 of us, 3 group of mates, and then away games, it varies. A few of us will go. Depends on, normally weekends away, so we'll just vary it up every weekend. Lovely.
Same question for you. What was your first game that either you can remember or that you've been told?
The year 2000, we beat QPR at home 1-0, Zima Abbey. Peter Crouch was playing for QPR as well that day, so yeah, it was a good day.
Nice bit of knowledge. Favourite game you've seen as a Norwich fan?
Probably last year at Leeds. It was just, the whole day was sensational. The night out after was brilliant as well. But yeah, it was just brilliant, the whole game. Everything was just fantastic. So
brilliant stuff. Favourite niche player again? Someone that you perhaps like for a bit of an obscure reason?
Back in the day, this is a real obscure one, Cody McDonald. When we had him up top, I seriously thought he was going to keep us up that year. Him and Alan Gow, but just didn't happen. But yeah, Cody was another one. Darren Kenton I used to love as well. We saw him at Leeds in the away end with the Norwich fans last year. Again, that's what made that day pretty special as well. So yeah, those 2.
Always good to meet your heroes, isn't it? And finally, any pre-match rituals that you abide by on a match day?
Last year I did. Last year, the brown coat I've got over there and a pair of jeans I had. Used to wear them every week. I split the jeans in January. The missus had to keep summing them up every week. And when Leeds lost at Brentford, we went to Stoke on Easter Monday. Sweltering hot. I still had the coat, still had the jeans on. when Leeds lost in the car on the way home, that was it. The jeans ripped up, gone, and I knew we were up at that point. But no, this year, nothing so far. So
that's Daniel Farker level of commitment to the coat, I think. As I said at the top of the show, it's been a while since we joined you. I think it was just before Arsenal. And we were all feeling a bit positive after that Everton win. 4 games since then, and we'll run through them. Of course, Arsenal 2-2 draw, Southampton a 2-1 defeat, Sheffield United a 2-1 defeat, and then Leicester a 1-1 draw as well. Been a mixed period. Jack, how do you reflect on the last 4 games?
Positives, definitely. Arsenal was a great result, and I think a lot of people, including myself, came away actually a little bit disappointed that we didn't get all 3 points. Southampton, I think the less said about that, the better, really. The first half was just, it was very similar to the second half of the Sheffield United game. It was, I don't know, we just seemed to be a bit frantic with the ball. We didn't keep hold of it as we did in the Arsenal game and in the other halves of both those games as well. Those two were ones that we really should have picked up points with. But the Leicester game, wow. I don't think anyone expected that. People were saying 3-4. Some people, the scummers down the road saying, our record could be broken. I'm really pleasantly shocked with it, I think. We deserved a point, definitely. I wouldn't say we did enough to win the game, really. But I think a point was fair for the level of commitment that we showed. And, you could see that the players were relieved with it as well. So.
I'm with you, actually. I think a draw was probably a fair reflection on that game, and we'll delve into that a bit more later. Ross, I want to ask you about that Southampton and Sheffield United doubleheader. Your eyes roll, I know, I apologise. Because at the time and after that Sheffield United game, that did feel like quite a big week for Norwich City, didn't it?
it did. Yeah, the Southampton game, both games were just the 2 halves. First half at Southampton, second half against Sheffield United. I don't mind losing. Every week, I don't mind as long as we do the basics, and I felt the basics just completely went out the window, especially second half against Sheffield United. We've done so well that first half, and then second half we just completely went away from what we believe in and what we do. And people say to me, whenever teams press us, we then turn into a different team. Well, Leicester pressed us on Saturday and we played around them. Manchester City played around it. All those teams that we've beaten have pressed us, but it's just one of those things, unfortunately. We've now got to look to move on, and big festive period ahead. So.
Why did you think in those 2 games in particular, you mentioned there and Jack alluded to it as well, in terms of there almost being 2 good halves in both games but not quite being able to stitch 2 halves together?
Yeah, can't really put my finger on it. I lived in Southampton for about 15 years, and speaking to lads before the game down there, they were saying that after the game, they were saying it's the best half of football that they've played all season. So sometimes, all right, maybe the other team is just a little bit better. At the same time, how many times, without picking on individuals, how many times did Amadou get the ball away that first half? We just were not at our best. And I just think if we can, like we did Saturday, get a full 90 minutes of a decent performance and look solid, then we look all right. But yeah, that second half against Sheffield United was really disappointing because I felt we had that game in the bag. I know they're 5th and I know they're up there, but I really felt they were there for the taking more than anything, to be honest. So that was the disappointment.
It was a funny game, wasn't it, that Sheffield United game? Obviously, the manner of the first half, which was so good, and I don't know if I've concluded that whether Norwich were brilliant or Sheffield United just weren't quite at the races. I've not quite decided where I am with that yet. But equally, was the manner in which Norwich failed to respond to Sheffield United coming out after the break with a little bit of oomph disappointing?
Absolutely. And we knew Chris Wilder was going to send him out, and we knew he was going to be riled up about it. He famously doesn't like us after what happened last time.
I think he's mellowed a little bit.
Well, has he though, really? Has he? We knew they were going to come out for it. I think the fact that we conceded 2 goals in quick succession and so early on in that second half, it really took the wind out of us, and you can hear in the fans as well, it completely just knocked the stuffing out of us, really. And then we couldn't really get back into it. So like you say, it was a massive shame. But last weekend's much better, a good improvement. So hopefully we're on the way up now, really.
How many of them, at the Sheffield United and Norwich, I think that there was quite a lot of the same team that actually played the year before. So that was the worrying thing for me, is actually the 2 sides weren't too different from when we played them in January and had a really close fought game. It was just a case of they've got that bit of confidence, and I keep talking about it in recent weeks. We've got a young team with confidence, and the confidence has been a little bit low, a little bit fragile. And as soon as that goal went in, I reckon if we'd have got to an hour without conceding, we probably would have been all right. But whenever it was 49th minute, we concede, that's it. Heads go down, confidence goes, and implode from there. So.
And the way Norwich play football, the way they want to pass the ball, that confidence is so essential, isn't it?
Massive. And we saw that Saturday. As soon as they got that goal, well, even before the goal, we were absolutely fantastic. You know, that's one thing. The only thing that I would say, watching Brighton on Monday night, they had, I think, is it Proper? He just kept going to get the ball and play. That's where we missed a Leitner, in my opinion. Maybe away from home, you need a Tetty and a Tribal together. But if we can just get a Leitner on the ball to just distribute it, as he has done previously this season when he has played, in the deeper position, not further up, then I think that could be the key. But we looked really good Saturday, really good.
And I promise we will come on Saturday. I'm not keeping draining us into that negative spell. But I think when Sheffield United scored that second goal, that's as resigned as I felt Carrow Road for a while. It felt a little bit like there was probably a lot of belief that left the ground in that moment. It felt quite low afterwards. Is that your reflection of it? Did you feel quite low after that game? Quite disappointed?
Deflating, really. And it was the manner in which we conceded as well. Like, I think Max Aarons is brilliant, and he'll go on to like much bigger things. He is, I think, a future England international in the senior team. But you have to at least, like the first goal, for example, you have to at least put your body on the line, and he didn't do that. And even the second goal, it was sloppy in the way that no one really closed. I think it was Baldock when it was scored. No one closed him down. We stood off. I think it was Vrancic as well that tried to clear the ball and just didn't really, just didn't get hold of the ball at all. So, deflating, and it was just a sucker punch.
Sucker punch. There we go. Right, let's bring things. I'll try and put a bit more of a positive spin. And again, before we dissect Leicester with real knowledge, I'll use the word knowledge. I trust you guys. 5 points from a possible 15. From where Norwich were, have they stabilised things a little bit for you?
Still a long way to go. My only concern, I got absolutely ripped to shreds in the pub on Saturday at Leicester when I said my worry is that looking at the table and I'm thinking, are there three worse teams than us at this moment in time? That's my only worry. Still a long way to go. I think we need to look at the table again, 8 o'clock New Year's Day evening after these run of 4 games, and have a look and see where we are then. But I think, have we stabilised? This is Norwich City. You know, we could come out Saturday and go and put 4 past Wolves, but at the same time we could go and concede 5. You just don't know what you're going to get, do you? So stability, no, probably not, because I don't think you're ever going to get stability with Norwich no matter where we're playing and what we're doing. But I just think there's been periods in the games, the Southampton game second half, Sheffield United first half, and again Saturday, which showed we can compete at this level and can do a job. It's just now getting that consistency. Now the confidence is hopefully up there. Get a run of games together, so you don't have to think about it too much and just crack on with the next one.
Yeah, in fairness, I remember Norwich being in a fairly healthy position around Christmas time under Alex Neil after they beat Manchester United. It looked like they'd sort of pulled away a little bit, and then it was a bad run of form. So as you say, this league is unpredictable. I'm going to ask you the question that Ross just asked. Are there 3 worse teams than Norwich City in the Premier League at this moment?
Watford, I think, are the only ones that I can really say. Southampton have a bit of a knack of producing results when they need to, but I think Watford, with the return of Troy Deeney, even then it's a bit dubious. I think they are probably the one team that I say will definitely go down. With regards to 3 teams worse than us at the minute, it's difficult to say. As you say, stability and inconsistency really is probably the thing that could kill us by the end of the season. I'd like to think there's three worse teams than us, and I'd, could even throw Villa in the hat really with different things that have been going on there. But yeah, too early to say, I think.
And there we go. Merry Christmas, everyone. Let's trying to keep things positive. Right, I'll allow you guys to talk about it and get carried away about it now. Leicester City, as you said, probably Norwich fans and myself included, who travelled to the King Power on Saturday in hope rather than expectation. What a performance that was. I don't think anyone was anticipating that. No. I was expecting 3-4, a comfortable win for Leicester. But yeah, honestly, it's can't really believe it. And I think a lot of that goes down. Like, my man of the match was Tom Tribal, because I thought he had an excellent game in closing down Maddison, making sure he didn't get the ball, closing down Tielemans, making sure he didn't get the ball, because they are those 2 most creative players. And Maddison hardly had a look in on Saturday. So it was a great result, and I really, really hope now we can build on that, because we desperately need it. read you some statistics about Leicester that I've got written down here. They've won all their games at home since the opening day, which of course was a draw against Wolves, and the last defeat was to Liverpool. That shows how impressive that result was on Saturday.
It does. It's easy to say it now after the game. I was quietly confident because I do feel it's coming in. Only in the sense of we seem to play better against the teams that are towards the top end of the table this season. And if we do look back at the end of the season, we may regret these Watford, Southampton results, Villa results, potentially. But against the top teams, we played really well. And I said on Saturday, if we get the first goal, I do think we've got a chance here. But every time we've conceded the first goal, you just think it could. How many? But it was a big result. It's a big result, but it's going to count for nothing if we don't do what we need to do at home over this festive period when we've got 3 home games. Now need to really push on and make it count. That's the key.
Absolutely. Worth noting at this point as well, I think Aston Villa's next 3 games are Southampton, Norwich and Watford. Yeah. So a massive opportunity for them to perhaps pull themselves out of it a little bit. You guys have both alluded to it a little bit in terms of how Norwich play better against the better teams in the league. Why do you think that is?
I think it's the lack of expectation to really excel, and it's just the freedom. Like, just go out there, try your best, and you know that City fans we always get behind it. We always get behind the team, no matter what. We always do, even through the hardships and things like that. We'll always get behind them. And yeah, I just think the fact that there was no expectation, there was no pressure on them, like there was at Watford and Southampton. There was pressure to get the results. Same as Man City, there was no expectation. People were saying 8-9-0, because of the amount of injuries we had too. And it was and same with Arsenal. You can say it about a lot of the games. There's a lack of expectation from fans, and you can see it. The players are just oozing in confidence then.
Do you agree with that?
I do. Yeah, I don't like this whole we'll up our game against the better teams. I don't think that is the case. I just think it's purely a case of teams trying to play football against us, and that actually works in our favour. The Manchester Cities, the Leicesters of this world trying to play through us. And if we get it right, and if we do get that first goal as we did, and what was it, 3 passes, Tribal to Emi straight into Pukki, and we score. And in all honesty, I said it at the end, I think we were a broken toe away from winning that game, if I'm being honest, because there's no way that if Pukki doesn't have a broken toe, he's not getting on the end of one of them 2 balls over the top. So yeah, it's just one of those things.
Yeah, a broken toe indeed. Of course, we found out subsequently it isn't broken, thank goodness. But a race against time to be fit for Saturday. But let's speak a little bit more about this idea of Norwich playing better against the better sides. It's a really interesting concept. Is it just that the better teams, if you want to use that, give Norwich more space to play? Because I think what I saw on Saturday was actually a Norwich side who were braver in possession.
I wouldn't say about giving us more room to play and things like more time to play, things like that. If you look back on that Man City game, we did exactly the same as what they did to us. They harried us and they constantly pressed us. And on the day, it could 9 times out of 10, we wouldn't have won that game. But just for this game, we were simply the better team. And I don't think there is, that we are playing against the bigger teams. We have to step up in our performances, things like that. We just found a way, and it stuck, and it worked. You can say the same. Leeds last year, Leeds were okay. Probably should have gone up last year. They were a very good team, but we played our game. They pressed us. We did exactly the same to them, and we came off better. So yeah, I think we're doing all right. We are doing all right, and even against the bigger teams, against the smaller teams, I think we'll be fine. I do.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you make there, because as much as everyone felt so down after that Sheffield United defeat, suddenly a positive result against Leicester, a few teams around Norwich dropping points, and things look so rosy again. Is that an illustration, I suppose, of how big getting a result in this division is? I
think so, and I now think Farke's got a clear idea of who he wants where, and obviously the injuries, if I hear that I word one more time, but injuries.
Might hear it again later.
Oh dear, yeah. Yeah, we've had injuries and it hasn't helped us. But now, he's got that number 10 sorted now with Kenny. He's been absolutely superb the last few weeks. I feel a bit sorry for Stiepermann. He's just not, unfortunately, been able to make that cut, and it showed with that chance in the 90th minute on Saturday when I seriously thought he was going to bang that home, and he's given it a pass back to the keeper. But I just think he's now got his position sorted in terms of who he wants where. He's got Emmy on the right. He's got Todd and O'Neill who he can rotate on the left. He's got Tetty and Tribal in there and Amadou if need be in the holding midfielders. And he's now got Kenny as his number 10 with Marco sort of backing him up, where perhaps when we had all the injuries, he was sort of trying to change it over a little bit. And, you know, even against Southampton that first half, when he dropped Amadou back and played 3 at the back, it was just panic buttons. All right, let's just try something to try and sort this out. Where I think now there's a bit of stability. Be interested to see, I'm not sure whether you're going to go into it today, but what we do in January, what then goes from there. If you're going to believe the sources, then Webber's already done his verbal agreements on 2 or 3 deals, and that'll be us sort of sorted for January. But we'll see what happens.
We will indeed. We might come on to January. We'll see how we do for time. It's a really interesting position Norwich find themselves in, because we've probably been in this position 4 times, speaking about Norwich City, in terms of them having a positive result and saying, right, okay, how do they build upon this? We've seen a template that they can use, that they can take forward, and they haven't quite managed to do that. There's going to become a point, isn't there, where they do need to build on results, and they do need to string some results together.
Definitely. And that was a key for me after that Arsenal game. I walked away from Carrow Road and thought, Southampton, Sheffield United, after 2 brilliant performances, here we go. And I stood there at Southampton on that Wednesday night and thought, what is going on? I just could not believe it. How can you... I don't understand as a professional how you can go from being that good on a Sunday to being that poor on a Wednesday. There's such, contrast difference. But I just think you need that consistency if you're going to do well. You need a run. Everyone, I think you spoke about it a few weeks ago about Bournemouth when they were in a similar position to us a few years ago. I think they then went on a run over Christmas and did really, really well. You need to go on a run of at some point, whether it's 2 wins on the bounce, 3 wins on the bounce. We haven't had that yet. We've had a win, and then it's been a case of, right, well, we've picked up a draw. We haven't, last win was Everton now, wasn't it? So it's now a case of, right, finding that win. This is the perfect time now. 4 games in however many days. If we could pick up, I'd take 7 from 12. If we can do something like that, I'd be laughing. But easier said than done.
If they do that, we'll all be having a very good Christmas. I think looking at that Christmas schedule, it is essential, isn't it, that this is a period where Norwich City do pick up some points, because so many games in such a small period, it almost feels like you can probably get your head above the water, but you can equally get pushed down as well.
Yeah, and what we have to remember is it's the same for everybody as well. Everybody in that league has got the same amount of games over that Christmas period. There's no respite. We can't use it as an excuse, because, like we say, everyone has to play those games. But it's difficult, isn't it? Well, 7 points. I mean, I don't know. I'll be honestly happy.
3 games at home. You've got to in this league with us as well, especially in a position when we are. You've got to take advantage of your home form, and we're having 3 games at home. You've got to, especially, I fancy us against Wolves simply because they play football, and I think we could probably get through them, and Palace as well. This is Norwich. We're probably going to beat Spurs and then lose 3-0 at home to Palace. You just don't know, do you? But that's just one of those things. But 3 games at home, you'd like to think we'll get some points.
Yeah, let's read that Christmas schedule in full then. Obviously starts with Wolves at home on Saturday, then Aston Villa at Villa Park. That feels like an increasingly big fixture. Tottenham Hotspur at home as well. Jose Mourinho coming into town just after 2 days after Boxing Day, before Norwich entertain Crystal Palace, and then we all head off in the FA Cup to Preston, which we're all delighted about, as you can imagine. You've mentioned it there. You think 7 is unrealistic. How many points would you take from that run of games?
I'll be happy with minimum 4. I'll be happy with minimum 4, but I think we'll get 6. I think you're right with Wolves and Palace, definitely, because, like you say, Wolves play to our strengths as well. Palace game, I think we'll do them. They didn't look great on Monday night against Brighton, and I think we can do that. Spurs, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But I think the game against Villa is going to be so nervy. I think for both teams, anything can happen with that one. But for me, 6 would be a really, really good Christmas period for Norwich.
And of course, the importance as well, and again, you alluded to earlier with January, but if Norwich do come out of this situation and they are cut adrift, then realistically attracting players in that window is going to be incredibly difficult.
Yeah, but I trust Farker, I trust Webber with their recruitment. I know a lot, or actually, I don't say a lot of it, that would be harsh. Some of them haven't come off. But in the grand scheme of things, the recruitment that we've done has been phenomenal. If you think 2 years ago in January, we signed Onel Hernandez. Yeah. And look what he's gone on to do. He had an amazing season last season for us. Very unlucky at the start of this season with his knee injury. And even when he's been back, he's been one of our best players. So whether we spend nothing, whether we bring in one loan, whether we bring in, I don't know, a couple of players and spend 3 or 4 million, as long as they stick to the philosophy that we've got, they work hard, we can't ask much more than that.
Yeah, I think Marcus Edwards was also a January signing.
We won't talk about that.
We won't talk about that one, but that's okay. I'm going to ask you a quick question about January before we move on to injuries, which we're all itching to talk about some more, because we haven't spoken about them enough this season. What positions would you like to see strengthened in the window?
I'd like a centre-half, just to try and relieve that. The problem is you get a centre-half in now, Closer gets fit at the end of the season.
Suddenly you've got 5.
Then all of a sudden you've got 5 again. But yeah, I just think, not necessarily a position, I'd like an experienced head in there. Someone to sort of help these young guys out. I think people forget that Ben Godfrey's still a young lad, and not criticising him at all, but if you actually look back at the goals this season that we've conceded, a lot of them have come through him, and I think that hasn't helped not having an experienced head by him. He's helped having Zimbo back recently. I'd like to see someone else for Pookie up top, if I'm honest with you. Nothing on Dimic at all. He's not had the opportunity and he's injured at the moment as well. Apart from that, it's not really a huge amount that I would look into. Maybe another left back, but again, Barham's done brilliantly in there. To be honest with you, if Max hadn't had such a good game on Saturday, I would have looked to put Sam at right back and put Jamal back in. But yeah, centre half I think has got to be priority in my.
I think the loan market is going to be one to watch this window for Norwich. I just get that feeling. Let's look ahead to Wolves then. Injuries, we've got to go there again. It feels like we've had a little break and now we're back with them. Timu Pukki, of course, suffered that toe injury in Leicester. Obviously, I think it was Paddy who confirmed on the Pinkin that it wasn't a break, but he remains a doubt for the game. And of course, the news that's broken today, as we film this, that Ben Godfrey was spotted in London Liverpool Street today with a brace on his knee. More worrying, concerning news for Norwich City and centre backs and injuries in general.
Yeah, it is. This Godfrey one is, that's come at a horrible time for us. It really has. As Ross said as well, it's he is a young lad. He's done all right this year, and he has got better since Zimmerman's been back. And I think what's happened now is it's just really unfortunate. But we've also had the news, Hanley's almost back in contention. Whether he will feature on the weekend, I don't know. Whether it will be Tetty or Amadou that drops back, remains to be seen. But
who would you like to see?
I would personally like to see Amadou in there. Hanley, I think he's not fully fit yet, from what I've read, what I've heard. So I just think another game will do him, and I just think Tetty needs to stay in midfield because he has played so well there recent weeks. It would be a big shame to lose that toughness we've got in the centre midfield. So yeah, Amadou for me.
Yeah, I think I concur. Wolves then, Adama Traore. Dave was telling me before I left that whoscored.com, which is quite a good place for football statistics, has him ranked as the 4th most informed player in Europe. So there you go. That's a nice one ahead of Saturday.
Vardy must have been up there, and look what he did on the weekend.
Well,
so.
I think if I was James Vardy, I'd be very angry about that goal not being given to me, especially when I'm in a run like that. To be honest, I certainly wouldn't want to have been the one who told him that wasn't his goal. That's for sure. But how do Norwich stop a player like Traore? Pace, power, ability. They did it quite well when he played for Middlesbrough. I think it was James Husband that night who nullified him quite well in probably one of his only good Norwich City performances. But the less said about that, the better. How do Norwich stop Traore?
2 words: Sam Barham. Raheem Sterling. They all gave it the big one about Raheem Sterling. Sam Barham kicked him into touch. So at the end of the day, you've just got a man for man, aren't you? You've just got to do your job, as we did Saturday, as we have done in previous games. Do your job, man for man. You'd probably think it's Barham up against him, and just do your job. Don't give him a run on you if you can. Yeah, he's a good player, but there's so many good players. Every team in this league has got good players. We're not playing, no disrespect, we're not playing the likes of Bolt at home anymore, or Rotherham at home anymore. These are top quality sides. They're going to have quality players throughout. It's not just him. You've got Jimenez, you've got Moutinho, you've got Neves, you've got all good players all around the pitch, and you just got to trust that our group of players and the way that we play together will edge it on the day and be enough.
I think what Saturday taught me about this division is just how difficult it is to get a result in the Premier League. If Norwich played like that in the Championship, they probably win the game fairly comfortably, and they played that well on Saturday, and all they got was a draw. Wolves 8th in the league, 1 loss in 6th. In six, rather, if I can get my words out. Are you confident going into this game?
Quietly, yes. Quietly confident, yeah. I just think, again, it comes back to getting the good result and then following on after it, because typical Norwich, they've given us a bit of hope with a good result. You better hope that they don't let you down on a Saturday. I just hope that as fans, we can just stick with them. Because if we get the first goal, all right, Sheffield United's a different example. If we get the first goal, I truly believe still that I think a team is going to get 3 or 4 against them. I still believe that if we get the first goal at home. But it's just having the fans on board. When we concede at home at the minute, the place is, well, you know, when you're there every week, it goes dead. And I'm just hoping now, if we can get that first goal, start well, first 10, 15, who knows what could happen. But they are a good side. They've done well in this league, so who knows.
Absolutely. How are you feeling ahead of Saturday?
Yeah, very much the same. Quietly confident with that. I look back on Wolves this season, and they started in mid-July with all their Europa League games. So at this period of time as well, it's demanding, and I think this could be a bit of a time where they start to struggle. They haven't really had that period this season where they've, everyone has that run at some point of the season where they struggle to pick up points. I'm hoping this is the start of their one this weekend. But yeah, very very good team. So anything could probably happen, and it probably will, because like I say, it is Norwich City. But yeah, I reckon we can get a very good result out of this.
And if they do get a good result, then there's the opportunity they can move out of the relegation zone, which would be a massive bonus as we all head to Villa Park. And as you said earlier, it might take the nerves off it a little bit. Let's finish then by getting some score predictions, which everyone loves or hates, depending on what side of the fence you sit on. But we have to do them because they're so interesting. Go on then, what's your score prediction for this?
Could be anything, could be 1-1, could be 5-4, who knows?
What one are you going to?
Probably more than likely 5-4, Realistically, I would say 2-1 either way.
Like it, sitting on the fence. And what about for you? What's your feeling?
Heart is saying 3-1 Norwich. My head is saying 2-2. But
let's go with your heart then.
Go with my heart, would be nice, yeah.
Lovely, guys. Thank you very much for joining me. If you'd like to get involved on the show, then you know where to find us. We'll put the links in the description as well, so you can email it and sit where these guys have sat this week to give your thoughts on Norwich City. It would be an absolute pleasure to have you on. But I think that's just about it, and that wraps us up, and we can all go and celebrate Christmas now, and hopefully do that with 3 points on Saturday, and then we can look ahead to Villa Park as opposed to perhaps fearing it slightly. Guys, thank you very much for joining me. If you enjoyed watching, make sure you leave a like, and let us know your score prediction as well for Wolves on Saturday. I think it's going to be a really fascinating game given where the two teams are, and given that Wolves have perhaps progressed in a similar way to Norwich, albeit on different paths, so to speak. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again very soon. Merry Christmas from us all.